Captain, Flashback Friday review off the starboard bow. Hello my fellow moviegoers, Chris back here in the movie chair, welcoming you to another Flashback Friday review. And for today I thought we'd go back to the year 2009 and take a look at the hit blockbuster film Star Trek. But this go around, we get to see the cadets of the Star Trek Enterprise as younger cadets now, maybe in their 20s, just fresh out of the Starfleet Academy, taking on the role of being the first crew on the very first voyage of the Enterprise. Which I actually enjoyed, because if you watch the TV show, the crew seemed to be more seasoned, and some of them even were like middle-aged in that show, so they had been on the Enterprise for a long time. Getting to see them younger and more inexperienced offered up more possibilities for the character development, and it offered up more possibilities for what the actors could do with the characters as well. Which the actors in this movie did have a very, very difficult job if you look at it. They are playing characters that so many people hold near and dear to their hearts. And they had the difficult task of trying to portray these characters the way that many Star Trek fans remember from the television show, while at the same time keeping it different enough to where they can make the characters their own and not just a carbon copy of what the actors that portrayed these characters before had done. But there's an even bigger problem you have to think about. The fact that they were casting younger people to play younger versions of the characters from the TV shows. Okay, so the events are going to take place before the TV show, but you have to make sure that the storyline from the movies that you're making now somehow line up with the events in the TV show, kind of like what they had to do with the new Planet of the Apes movies to make sure that things kind of lined up to the way the Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes movie was back in the 60s when you get to that timeline. But the writers did a pretty good job working around this, because what they did was, by having an older Spock and the Romulans travel through that wormhole and do time travel, they made it to where you can have a whole new series of events that happen while maintaining the old timeline that the TV show created back in the 60s, as well as the movies and books that have been released over the decades as well. It's not like when Star Wars was bought out by Disney and they wanted to make The Force Awakens to take place after the events of Return of the Jedi, because then it just pretty much turned into, oh, all those stories that you read throughout the decades, oh, they didn't happen now. Ha-ha! You wasted your time. Now, I do know, because I remember reading, there were plenty of older Star Trek fans that were fan of the TV shows that did not care for this movie because they felt it did not feel like a Star Trek film. Which I can see what they mean by this. The old TV show, they actually dealt with more of a philosophical and actually included more political and social issues that people were experiencing at that time into the TV show, to where you actually were thinking more and actually, connecting it with your own life. This movie, however, is more of an action-adventure film, and in a way actually feels more like a Star Wars film than a Star Trek film. But the reason they did this was because the studio was looking to make a Star Trek film that would appeal to the general audience, so in turn, some of the things that hardcore Star Trek fans like were going to be left on the cutting room floor. Still, if you're a seasoned Star Trek fan, or you're new to the series, go ahead and check this movie out. You may be surprised, you may enjoy the action, the characters, the story, and the jokes that this movie has to offer. And if you have seen this movie already, I would love to hear what you had to think about it down in the comment section below, because that is what it is there for. Also, don't forget, if you enjoyed my video, please remember to give it a like, and also subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all the upcoming Flashback Friday reviews we will have in the future. And speaking of past Flashback Friday reviews, maybe you would like to check out one of the ones I did for Halloween, like this one for Ringu. Well, alright my friends, that is all the time we have for today. I'll be seeing you guys later, and I will save you a movie chair for the next video.